I wanted to spend a few minutes just going over a few things to help you on tomorrow's test. And one of them is to talk about a couple little chunks that are used in different words. And the chunks kind of have a meaning that helps to figure out what the whole word means. And I know that might sound weird, but I'll explain it as I go. So tele, T-E-L-E, is a chunk that you would see at the start of words like telescope, television, for example. Now, a telescope is a device that would help you see things far away. So over a long distance, things that would be way far away, it helps you see them with your eye looking through this telescope. A television is a device that actually helps us to see shows that are being sent over through the air so that we can watch TV. So television is the fancy word for TV, but it basically sends pictures to us, the vision over a distance, just like telescopes help us see things far away. A telephone, helps us to hear things from far away. So the telephone, I think, came along before the television, but it actually carries sound over distance. So what that's telling me is that tele has to do with visions and sounds being carried long distances. So just something to keep in mind in case you ever see tele on another word. Like, isn't there a word teleport? If you teleport, doesn't it kind of take something from one spot to another? So it has to do with something traveling, doesn't it? Images or sounds or people. If you're teleporting, I always thought it would be cool to teleport. Another one that you might see is auto, like automatic. If something is automatic, it kind of works on its own. Automobile is a fancy word for like a car or a truck. It would be a car that moves by itself, right? An automobile, it goes by itself, auto. So automatic, automobile, I'm sure there are other autos that I'm not thinking of right now, but I wanted to mention that to you, kind of going on your own. Okay. Para. If you write a paragraph, which I have asked you to do, yesterday I asked you to write one actually, that is something that is written. So a paragraph, and graph has to do with writing, doesn't it? Paragraph, when something is written, for sure. Okay, I want to also talk to you about some of the important words that were in the selection. For example, the word peak. If you reach the top of the peak, or the mountain peak, you have reached the top. So peak would be the top, wouldn't it? I want to make sure you can read this word. Lots of chunks in this one. Educational. If something is educational, it is going to provide information. It educates you. It helps you learn, doesn't it? Slopes. If you ski down the slopes, you are going down the hillsides. It could be a mountain slope, but it could be a hillside slope also. Wouldn't have to be a mountain. The word landscape would be the scenery that you see. So if you are outside in Wisconsin, the typical Wisconsin landscape would be forests, maybe some open fields and hills. That would be the typical landscape with an occasional river or lake. But if you were out west in the Rocky Mountains, the typical landscape would be you would see mountains somewhere because they're huge. And if you're out there, you're going to see them somewhere in a direction that you look. Mountains, and then the kinds of plants and things that grow there in the mountains would be a mountain landscape. If you were down in Arizona, you would have a desert landscape. So the landscape is going to be the scenery that you are looking at, and wherever you happen to be. Now the word steep, I think we've talked about before. If something is steep, it's a very sharp angle. It's like, if you go up a steep hill, it's not a gentle hill. It's going up straight or going down pretty sharp. And steep hills aren't fun to climb. I like gentle slopes myself. So I wanted to point out some of those words, wanted to make sure that you were okay with the tellas and the autos. Also, one more thing is recognizing words that rhyme or have the same sound. You're going to take the spelling pattern from this week on your test tomorrow, and there's going to be, the O-U-G-H and the A-U-G-H were the spelling patterns. It was a tough spelling list. We talked about that. But if I asked you what word rhymes with the word cough, what word rhymes with cough? All right. Then you need a word that rhymes, not the word that's spelled the same necessarily. Now, I suppose I picked a word that you can't rhyme with very well. Let's pick a different one. Let's pick laugh. We can come up with something that rhymes with laugh. So laugh has the AFF sound. I hear it, AF. So laugh would rhyme with staff. Even though they're spelled differently, they rhyme. This sounds the same as this, af, and that is what tells you if it is rhyming. If something is tough and you want a word that rhymes with it, does cough rhyme with tough? No, it does not. Tough sounds like UFF, uff. This sounds like OFF, off. Cough does not rhyme with tough. Now, tough and rough rhyme because they both have the uff sound, the vowel sound, and this in the middle and end of that word. So be careful because you are going to be asked which words rhyme. Which word rhymes with the word they give you? And then also, which word has the same sound? So if I, for example, gave you the word daughter, you would need to be able to read it. Now, which word has the same sound for AUGH as you hear in daughter? Well, I know the AUGH says ah. So would I pick laugh? No, because this says af and that says ah. Laugh would not work. Ah. What about paw? Would paw work? Yes, it would. Now it's spelled differently. Ah, but daughter, paw. Same vowel sound. These two sound the same. So be very careful when you do that section, that you are reading the questions carefully and listening for rhymes and sounds. It's not going to be a spelling section. It's going to be what sound do those make. And so you're going to need to be super careful on those.